Doubt is something we all have faced, either in ourselves or in others. We oftentimes give no option for success. Due to the circumstances of life, a lot of us have become jaded. And that type of thinking is what keeps us down. But some, despite those negative thoughts, push on and become a form of hope. An example that even in dark times, against all odds, trying and hoping is better than nothing at all. Now, before we get into this review, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And everything that you do helps. I'm grateful for your viewership and time, and I thank you. Now, Medieval isn't exactly the most popular PlayStation franchise. It originally released on the PlayStation 1 with pretty positive reviews, yet many people don't speak of the franchise. I mean, I get it, Sony has a billion mascots or whatever, but Sir Daniel, at least, he stands out. Now, Sir Daniel being overshadowed isn't anything new for him though. After leading the charge against the sorcerer Zark, he was shot down immediately, never truly becoming a hero. Except he returns, now undead, in a hero's tomb. This was dedicated to him after defeating Zark. Sir Daniel, completely confused, learns that the king lied about Sir Daniel's heroic feats, so that his friend won't be known as a loser that died before the battle even began. Sir Daniel is only back because he accidentally got resurrected by Zark, as he's still alive and using necromancy, raising an army for himself. Now with this unsuspected second chance, Sir Daniel, with the help of the fallen heroes, can finally be the hero that the legend made him out to be, and finally put Zark in the ground where he belongs. It isn't surprising that Medieval isn't rich in its narrative. Remember, this is a PlayStation 1 game that wasn't made by Square or Kojima. So the plot is very simple. Despite this simple story has a great message. Sir Daniel, although a trained soldier, knows that he's a coward. Sure, he was able to lead his men to Zark, but now he's dealing with something completely different. Having to now fight zombies, goblins, monsters, dragons, demons, you name it. Any creature of the dark or the night is coming after Sir Daniel in full force. He is also doing this all alone. Well, kinda. See, Sir Daniel can visit the Hall of Heroes. Here he can speak to different heroes that can aid him in his adventure. They only offer him items that he can use and a lot, and I mean a lot, of criticism. Sir Daniel is often bullied by most of these guys and he can't really argue with them. See, most of these heroes know that he didn't really defeat Zark and doesn't believe that he belongs in the Hall of Heroes. And they don't have too much confidence that he can beat Zark now. Sir Daniel has mainly one line of dialogue. He constantly says, "I'll show you," to many different people, including these heroes that are supposed to help him. This might as well be his catchphrase, as he is trying to prove his worth, not just to the others, but himself. To me, the cool thing about Sir Daniel is his flawed nature. Like I said, he isn't the typical hero. He doubts, he shows fears, he has weaknesses, he's unsure, but that doesn't stop him. This level of weakness and vulnerability is also shown in his design if you pay attention close enough. Sir Daniel is missing an eye, he's missing a jaw, and obviously he looks pretty weak because he's just an animated skeleton. He's an underdog in every sense of the word, and despite the stacked odds against him, he's determined to be a hero. After finally beating the sorcerer, he returns to his grave to finally rest. Now, this was a subtle thing for me, but it was very cool to see. I'm talking about the simplicity of someone completing their goal. To see Sir Daniel finally get to rest again, now actually becoming a true hero, is like watching someone pass away with joy and content. You don't feel sad, but happy. And in the afterlife, after seeing Sir Daniel welcome in the Hall of Heroes, was the cherry on top. The gameplay actually leans into the theme of the game. You're put against all odds in this action-adventure game. Like I said, you'll be fighting plenty of spooky fantasy creatures, while solving puzzles, collecting key items, and you'll have a few platforming segments as well. Now, to be clear, Medieval is way more focused on combat and puzzles, as one negative is the minor platforming sections. There aren't that many of them, but This game really wasn't designed for Sardinia to be jumping all around, and you'll definitely feel it when you play the game. It's not so bad that you will want to quit, but for me, everything else with the gameplay was so well that these minor moments do stand out. It's the weakest part of the gameplay, but thankfully, it's the rarest part of the gameplay. The combat, however, is great. Now remember, this is a PlayStation 1 game, and this isn't Devil May Cry or anything. It's not complex. This is a very simple hack and slash game. Now there is some form of strategy when it comes to which weapons you use on which enemies. In the Hall of Heroes, you are rewarded with new or upgraded versions of your arsenal. You only get these weapons by getting the chalice in every level, which is typically done by killing a certain amount of monsters in the stage. But sometimes you even have to avoid taking out some enemies, as they can actually decrease this percentage. The weapons mainly come in two flavors. Either they're close quarter weapons or range weapons. You will get many swords, hammers, you'll get some spears, arrows, a few magic items, and even chicken legs. You can have two weapons equipped at any time. And like I said, every enemy is weak to a particular weapon. This should not be ignored, as you can have a very difficult time if you're using a weapon that an enemy is not particularly weak to. You can chip away at the enemy's health bar by just attacking them with whatever weapon you have, but trust me, you want to go and get these more powerful weapons or just get the right weapon for the job, unless you're going for some type of a challenge run. Medieval also does a smart job to not make the upgraded versions of your weapons replace older versions. One of the earlier range weapons you'll get are throwing knives. They do more damage than the second thing you'll get, which is the bolt gun. But the bolt gun shoots faster than throwing your knives. The arrows are more powerful than both of them, but requires a charge for maximum damage. And the spear, which is one of my favorite weapons, is more deadlier than all the other ranged weapons, except it's very slow to throw, plus you get very limited amounts of ammo. Speaking of ammo, to get more, you need to spend money. You will find money in different chests and scattered throughout the levels. Money can be used to replenish magic-based weapons or refill ammo. Now this game isn't all offense, as you do get a defensive option with a few shields, but they are breakable. Them being breakable was actually pretty smart on the developer's behalf, because it makes them more of a conscious decision rather than just a get out of jail free card. And seeing as many enemies can hit you multiple times very quickly, they can easily eat up your shield. So like I said, you want to be very cautious when using your shield in battle. The bosses in this game use a tried and true gameplay design. Basically, they have easy to read patterns with a few mix-ups every now and again. They throw these in just to keep you on your toes so you don't get into a rhythm of boredom. There are even some bosses that are more like puzzles. My favorite being the dragon. You have to drop crystals on his head while dodging his attacks. Now, there is one more negative I need to bring up, and that's the hitboxes on our hero. In combat, this was never an issue, but moving around the environment is another story. For some reason, even if you're even slightly close to the edge of an item or a wall, you'll get stuck on it or something. Now, this was nothing crazy. I didn't die from this or anything, but it was very annoying as it happened throughout the entire game. The graphics in this game may be hit or miss depending upon who you are. Now, I really like the bright and colorful meets spooky vibes. It kind of reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas. But I think the thing that people might kind of not like so much is that this game almost looks like an Unreal Engine asset flip. A lot of these remakes make games look like this. Even the Crash Bandicoot remake kind of had this odd look to it, almost like a fan-made game in Unreal Engine. But if that doesn't bother you, these graphics look pretty nice. I'm pretty sure many people were shocked to hear that Sony even remade Medieval. Sir Daniel is just one of those mascots that many people vaguely remember. And most wouldn't think would prioritize being remade, especially over other PlayStation franchises. The funny thing is, Sony actually remade Medieval already. There was a PSP remake of Medieval 1 called Resurrection. So clearly someone at PlayStation really believes in Sir Daniel and the Medieval franchise. And after playing the remake, I actually see their point. I remember Medieval vaguely just like most of you. I didn't play the game on PlayStation 1, but I do remember seeing it from time to time. In fact, I knew no one that had this game, and I definitely didn't hear anyone speak about it. Could just be where I lived and grew up, but I'm being honest, man, over the years of talking to many gamers, and I'm talking about a lot of PlayStation fans, I have literally heard no one talk about Medieval. People bring up Parappa the Rapper, people even bring up Jumping Flash. Who knows about Jumping Flash? I sure didn't. I had to be told about it, because that wasn't a very popular game either. But Medieval's very strange. It's a game I promise you many PlayStation fans, if they saw the cover of it, would say, oh yeah, I remember that, never played it, but I remember it. So I'm glad that someone at PlayStation actually knows that this is a pretty good game, and maybe even a franchise as well, because as I look at the scores for Medieval 2, it actually got pretty good review scores just like the first one, even better actually. After playing this game, I would love to see Sony remake Medieval 2 so I can get a chance to play that one as well. Not only that, I would love for them to just bring Medieval back. I'm not talking about bring it back and make it some bombastic Uncharted type game. I'm talking about bring it back and keep it simple. You know, keep it in the vein of a PlayStation 1 era game. That way Sony can actually have a few games out in the market that don't take a lot of money to make, and they don't take that much time to create either. You know, as some type of filler in between major releases. The Medieval remake is often on sale, going for around $10 on the digital store, and you can find it for $20 practically anywhere. That's not all. This remake isn't just a graphical upgrade. They actually added in a new gameplay mechanic where you can go around and solve puzzles for lost souls. By completing all of these, not only do you of course unlock some type of a trophy for it, but you actually get to unlock a fully playable version of the original Medieval game inside your remake. So technically you're getting two games in one, and you get a lot of replay value, as again this game is short and the levels are short. I'm already working on the platinum myself. If you can't already tell, I highly recommend you try Medieval. Like I said, the game is always on sale, and I think it's on sale right now. It typically goes on sale during October for obvious reasons. So if you ever looked at Medieval as a kid or just seen it on the PlayStation Store and had your doubts, leave all doubts behind and play this great PlayStation classic.